Good morning, guys. I thought that I would do my skincare with you and then we could have a little chat. Because I have unfortunately been dealing with a little bit of comparison lately. And as the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And I want to say that I'm super grateful for my life. I have talked about this before on my page, but I do periodically talk about it from time to time, not because I'm not moved through it, and I wouldn't say I'm completely healed from it, but I went through a horrible, horrible breakup a couple years ago, and I started my life completely over when I was 30, which I feel like can be scary for a lot of women because, especially if you're a woman who would like to get married and have children. Now, my current boyfriend is amazing. I feel like I can speak freely with him about literally anything. Like I've been able to talk to him about my past relationship. And I've also talked about this before where he was married previously for several years. So he understands what it's like to spend a good portion of your life with somebody. I was with my ex-boyfriend for about 6 years, and I thought my life was on going down a completely different road. And then I'm the one who initiated the breakup. And, I feel like there is a lot of confusion or judgment around the person who initiates a breakup and then the other person is hurting, because then people assume because you're the one who initiated the breakup that you cannot also grieve and you can not also be hurting. And sometimes I feel like when you are grief is hard in general, but in my experience, I have not experienced a lot of loss in my life, which I'm very grateful for, but I think that grieving somebody who is still walking around on this earth can be very difficult and challenging. And I don't know why I wanted to talk about that this morning. I guess it was just kind of like weighing heavy on my mind, and I was journaling and I was just kind of like thinking about, where my life was, where I thought it was going, and like where it is now. And I have a beautiful son, I have a beautiful, healthy relationship. And I don't talk about it often because sometimes I feel like I just want to be very protective of the relationship that I have. Not that I feel like anybody's going to try to sabotage it for me or anything like that, but I feel like when you're truly like at peace and genuinely happy and you feel full and super grateful, you don't always feel the need to talk about it because you're just so busy enjoying the life that you're living. But now that we're getting towards the holidays, there's so much content that we consume on this app. And that can be like, we're seeing people who are really living at large and they live in these beautiful homes, but that's not the reality for a majority of people. And sometimes I think, myself included, we watch this content and we feel like we're kind of like missing out on what we're doing what can we do differently to make a better life for ourselves and for our family. And I think that's why, and a lot of my following is moms, and a lot of my following is stay-at-home moms or moms who work part-time or they work from home. And we're all out here just trying to create content on social media. I do it personally because it is a therapeutic outlet for me, and I talk about this with my therapist a lot. Like, I don't always feel super open about getting on the camera and talking, so I do a lot of videos with like music over them, but some of you guys have said that you enjoy my talking videos, so I'm going to try to allow myself to be a little bit more vulnerable on this app, which I feel like for the most part, like I'm always very honest with you guys and I tell you how I'm feeling, but we haven't had like a catch up. But the holidays are coming up, money's tight for everybody. And this year my boyfriend and I are going to tell family we don't want anything for us. We would just like, some things for Roman. And hold on. Okay, sorry, my son was crying and he was hungry. But I'm going off on like a side quest. I hope I'm going to deliver the message that I'm trying to deliver. This is kind of like word vomit, and I'm just kind of like, it's a Dear Diary moment. But maybe you guys are going to understand what I'm saying. But couple years ago, I had a miscarriage, and then I was smoking. I was gardening a lot, I'll say, and I don't think people are aware of the amount of THC. If you're not very educated, you may not know about the effects THC can have on your body, and I went into a full-blown psychosis, and I was in inpatient for 2 weeks. I'm out of breath because I went up the steps. Oh my God, I need to work out. But anyways, that was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. On top of my breakup, I was doing a lot of questionable things, nothing like harmful or anything like that, but I just, if you've ever experienced psychosis or like a psychotic break of any kind, you know that it can be like a very jarring thing to happen to you. Like you don't know, like you truly are not, you don't know what is reality. And it was very challenging on me. You actually lose brain cells when you go into psychosis. And when I was in there, I refused to take medicine for the first couple days because I thought they were trying to poison me. And at the time I thought I was going to lose my relationship because it was traumatic for my boyfriend as well. And then I thought, well, I wanted to start having kids when it was safe to do so after my miscarriage. And I thought, well, wow, like we're never gonna be able to have kids now. And, then we did, and we have this beautiful son now, and he's amazing. He's such a happy kid. But, there's always stress of like money and things like that, and like wondering if we're gonna have enough. And I don't know that people talk about that enough either, because it can be embarrassing, but I mean, whatever. I know I'm not the only person who stresses about money. And, you get on this app and you see people doing like tons of shopping. And like I said, like these beautiful houses and driving these beautiful cars. And some of us are like, how am I going to pay my credit card bills? Like you have mountains of credit card debt, or you have car payments that you're not sure you're going to be able to make every month. And your utilities can be astronomical, especially through the winter. Like, how are we going to afford these like simple day-to-day things? And I've talked about this before too, where people are putting like their groceries on Klarna and like other things like that. And so I just feel like if anybody else is watching this and feels that way, and you're just kind of feeling like a little depressy about like where you're at in life, I mean, I will say I personally, like, I love the finer things in life. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think about the car that I would drive if I had tons of money, and the clothes that I would wear and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, those are just things, and we can't be buried with things. And I think it's so important to have a good family foundation or good supportive people around you. And while my boyfriend and I don't have everything that we could possibly want in this life, we have each other, and that is truly enough. And so, I don't know, I guess I just felt like having a little vulnerable moment with you guys this morning and just talking about how I'm feeling. I think I have very good friends. My sister is amazing. I have a couple good friends that I can talk to about anything, and I know they won't judge me, and it's just amazing to have that. And then also having a partner where I can just be like, this is kind of like how I'm feeling, and you're not being judged for it, especially going through everything that I went through like my breakup, and like feeling very much alone there and scared. And it's kind of hard because like when you're going through things like that, you could have so many people around you that love you, but you still feel very much alone. And I'm just so grateful to be where I'm at in my life. And I guess like the point of this message is just to remind you guys that comparison is the thief of joy, and everything that you're doing to keep your family together and happy. And as long as, I'm struggling with like breastfeeding right now because I stopped breastfeeding, I went back on my ADD medicine, and I'm having a little bit of mom guilt with that, but I just really wasn't producing the milk that I need to be producing to keep up with my son's needs. But I'm having some guilt with that, so I'm dealing with that, and I know I'm not alone there either. But I've had a lot of support from friends and coworkers who have gone through something similar. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's kind of really what I wanted to say. And it's almost 10 minutes in, and I don't know if I really delivered a message here. But I just wanted to pop on here and just like have a little chat because, my son is sleeping, and I'm just like looking at him feeling very grateful, and, but also feeling a little sad and kind of like lonely and stuff after journaling, even though I got all those feelings out. So anyways, if you guys are feeling anything similar, just know that things will always get better, and they will not always be this way. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Bye.